Hey, welcome to Socialism for All. Today's date is March 21st, 2020. And in this video, we're going to take a little bit of a closer look at Kshama Swant and the Socialist Alternative Trotskyist organization. Why is their YouTube channel so small? Is where I'm starting this off. If you like this video, please click the like button and the subscribe button and consider supporting me on Patreon. The link to the Patreon is in the description. So, like I said, this video is starting off simply. I was looking around at some left media, and as you can see on the screen, the Socialist Alternative YouTube channel is rather small at 1,750 subscribers. By contrast, my channel, which is not at all big right now, is going on 2,100 subscribers. You can see perhaps some of the problem is they don't post things to their channel very often. So there's one from a week ago, Stand with Kshama, that is 2 hours long. It's from a week ago. And then there are two videos from 4 months ago around the election. And then the US presidential election, that is. And then there are a couple of like podcasts, more like an hour long, from 7 months ago. And they only get a few hundred views. This is, I think, the same case if you look at the Communist Party USA. Their YouTube is pitiful. I watched one of their live streams and it was sad. And honestly, what they were talking about sounded, this is CPUSA now, indistinguishable from the Democratic Party. That was my opinion. But again, these are not popular channels. Again, my channel is over 2,000 and growing. They're under 2,000. But there are many more popular, more established socialist Marxist channels than mine. I mean, there are plenty of people over 10,000, even closer to 100,000. So why is that? I mean, these organizations take dues money. Each one of them has a staff. I mean, people, volunteers who commit real world hours to them. Whereas many other channels that are just some person making up content, doing reaction videos or audiobooks or whatever, have like much more expansive media reach. That is not good for our movement. So people often want to know what to do next after, they become exposed to Marxism, become a socialist, and they say, well, what do I do now? Now, the sensible thing to do is to join an org. However, for a media personality such as myself, how am I supposed to recommend an org that is not doing some of the bare minimum things you should be doing in the 21st century in terms of outreach? If independent YouTube channels are doing better than established organizations who can, to their credit, do things like get people elected to the Seattle City Council, as Socialist Alternative did with Kshama Swant, that's awesome. But we need to replicate things like that. I mean, electoralism may not be the be-all, end-all, but I would... And yes, SA is Trotskyist. That's not my cup of tea. But would I rather have a United States where half of all the city councils are Trotskyists versus just Democrats and Republicans? Hands down, yes. That's not even a question. Obviously, we would be in much better shape. For all of the problems I think that there are with Trotskyism, yes, that would be a huge step forward. And it would be a building block for other social... I mean, won't even get into all the reasons why that would be good. But we need to get beyond this thing of, in U.S. politics, like, you get the one token person elected, and then rather than actually replicating and building on that, it turns into this weird, like, hero worship and, like, oh, the one person that represents our point of view. Well, first of all, that's not how politics works. It's a numbers game, and you need many, many people in office. So media certainly is a part of that. Now, I'm going to back it up a little bit, talking about Socialist Alternative in particular. And I don't mean to like single them out. I just happen to have been thinking about doing a story about them recently. And believe me, like everybody gets a turn in the hot seat. Okay. It's just, this is what we do in the movement. We discuss, criticize, hopefully respectfully, ideas and behavior. This is a case where, I just want to crack the whip a little bit. I think that if you have a fucking org, like I don't have an org, yet I have more subs than Socialist Alternative has. That's not right. That's not right. You're doing something wrong. And, again, if anything, I hope this is constructive criticism. In other words, we're trying to say we would like you to do more of what you're doing, not less. So that's the point, and I just hope it's taken in that light. But a while ago, I came across a site called DemExit. We need to launch a new party. I'm putting a screenshot there on the screen. I mean, I agree with that. And I was looking for some kind of effort that I could endorse because I would like to see the movement grow. I know, though, that there are a lot of, in my opinion, highly problematic, tiny fringe groups that are not the healthiest necessarily in terms of their group dynamics. And I do not want to steer people towards them where they're going to have a terrible time. But I went looking, and here, for example, is an article by Kshama Swant, March 11, 2020, on the Socialist Alternative website titled #DemExit, Time to Launch a New Party of, by, and for Working People. Join us for a mass protest and conference in Milwaukee. Sign our petition, etc. So here's the article. I'll just read it. The coronavirus is spreading, global markets are in chaos, and we need a political revolution now more than ever. Now is the time to deepen our fight for Medicare for all, Green New Deal, socialist policies that benefit working people, not Wall Street. In other words, I'm commenting now, taking the Bernie Sanders momentum as it was appearing in March 2020 that Bernie Sanders was faltering and preparing to, fuck up and endorse Joe Biden. So SA stepped in and was trying to do this. So continuing with the article, make no mistake, the Democratic Party elite resuscitated Biden not because they have profound faith in him, but because he is their last line of defense against Bernie's political revolution. The New York Times, notorious defenders of the status quo, themselves admitted as much the day after Biden's win in South Carolina when they announced, quote, Buttigieg and Klobuchar endorsed Biden, aiming to slow Sanders, unquote. The establishment's number 1, number 2, and number 3 goals were to suffocate our movement, to use any means necessary to stop Medicare for all, universal rent control, a Green New Deal, and our demand that billionaires should no longer exist. Now, commenting, we're socialists. We want to end capitalism. We want to go beyond reforms to revolution ultimately. However, you look at the Green Party, PSL, any of these parties start by running on a platform of bold reforms that would significantly swing the balance of power away from capital, which we would then use to embolden people, pull people out of despair, and move forward. So anyway, this is decent. It's a good effort. But is Socialist Alternative or any org in a position to follow up on this? I've done a number of videos about the betrayal of Bernie Sanders. He was filling stadiums. He had the big tent. It was the lightning rod, and it was harnessing the lightning. And then Bernie Sanders decided to channel that into the Democratic Party. The problem is Socialist Alternative can't pick up that lightning rod. PSL can't pick up that lightning rod. None of these groups, Green Party, can't pick up that lightning rod. We need something bigger. None of these orgs could fill a stadium. And right now, that's what we need. So we need to build ourselves up to where, at least as a coalition, because we would get to that point more quickly than any single org being able to pick up the lightning rod. But if all the orgs get somewhat bigger and we all chip in, maybe we can do that. Maybe we can fill stadiums again and have an actual socialist coalition. But I'm just going to throw it out there. What is wrong with these orgs? Why are they so small? I know that real life engagement is significantly lower than online engagement, okay? You know, there's over 2,000 subs to this channel, for example. But there are, you know, maybe 100 names in the comments regularly. Not everybody likes to comment. Other people engage on other levels, you know, or like, for example, there are, 2,000 subs and currently 16 patrons. So, you know, the ratio of financial engagement is significantly lower than, say, subscription count. So I get that. And that's always the case. I mean, I've been in other orgs where you have membership on paper, and then it's the exact same thing, but the number of people who actually show up to meetings is much smaller. And then the number of people who show up to meetings and participate significantly, that's smaller still. Which is why you just got to get your overall numbers and engagement and popularity up, because it's always going to be that significantly smaller proportion. Okay, so this is not a secret. So why are the orgs so small? Is some of it, you know, the despair and terror that the working class lives in? Yes. Is some of it things that the orgs are doing wrong? Also, yes. I'm not anti-org. I want better orgs. Seriously, like, don't misconstrue what I'm saying at all. But now is the time, for sure. Like I said, I don't mean to single out Socialist Alternative. I just happen to think that was like a pretty glaring thing there. Having a YouTube channel, it's like a prerequisite in 2021. You need it. If you don't have that, how are you engaging the public? That's like the new television, okay? Let's show a video from Socialist Alternative and just compare this image to the reality. And again, if I'm singling them out at all for this, at least for this particular video, I'm sure we'll do other orgs at other times, it's because you see Kshama Swant mentioned by Chris Hedges frequently. She recently did a round on the SocDem gang. She's talking to Jordan Sheridan on Status Coup, etc. She's a prominent face. So why is that not being leveraged into mass mobilization and movement growth? Or is it? Am I wrong? Am I looking at this incorrectly? Let me know in the comments. Let's do the video.
Tonight is November 4th, and there is no more November 3rd, 2020. There is no more. Just vote. Tonight, we take the gloves off.
He openly says that he will refuse to leave office if he loses, and has already made statements trying to delegitimize mail-in ballots and stop them from being counted.
Tens of millions of us have been rightfully terrified of another 4 years of Trump. But what did the Democrats provide as an answer to our hatred of Trump and his base and the Proud Boys and the billionaire class? Biden came out of the gate saying if he was elected, nothing would fundamentally change.
We have to take the fight here. The fight has to come from us.
I'm sick of these damn Democrats. We need a new party. We need a new party made up of workers, made up of organizations, made up of students, made up of indigenous groups. We need a new system.
We need to go all out to make sure our movement goes beyond what is acceptable for Trump or even Biden. And that means taking up the demands that speak to us, real working people. We need things like restoring emergency stimulus relief, forgiving rent, Medicare for all, and a socialist Green New Deal.
We chant a lot, we say, whose streets? Whose streets? Whose streets? Yeah, that's not just a chant, right? That's what it means to be a socialist, is to recognize that every person who laid the bricks for that building gets to have a say about what that building does, what it's used for. That's socialism, is that we own the world that we build.
All right, so there's the video from Socialist Alternative. It's one of only a few videos that have gone up in the last 6 months on their official channel. And I think it's reasonably compelling as far as the video. It shows people from a variety of backgrounds in different cities speaking for socialism, marching for socialism out in the real world where we need to be. That's great. But you go to the YouTube channel and it is sad. I mean, it's like, it's not well represented online, which is also important for people to, you want people to join your movement and your organization, but people don't necessarily, unless they're super diehard, want to join like tiny groups. Most people are followers. And it's not necessarily a bad thing. There's some wisdom in that. I mean, getting involved with a real small group, you don't know if it's going to waste your time. Whereas if something is already snowballing and you agree with it, it's a lot easier to feel like you're not wasting your time and that your contribution is going to go somewhere. If it's a big group and, we look at DSA is doing real well right now. I think that, that speaks to the popularity of this kind of message, although DSA endorses Democrats. So a lot of that energy is getting steered into the Democratic Party. We, as socialists, need to prevent that. We need to divert that energy to the proper place, into socialism, into socialist organizations. So I'm going to end with questions more than conclusions here. What do we do about this? What have been your experiences in orgs, good and bad? What has worked? Because I've done a number of videos this week about whether it's MPP or the Green Party or different organizations. And, that lightning strike moment, because we need it to turn into a mass movement the way that the Bernie Sanders thing was huge and popular and mainstream. We need to take our message there and not tie it to the Democratic Party. Are people ready for it? Maybe people aren't ready for it. Well, then what do we do with that? But what I like to do is just end with these questions of, are we doing enough? Are our organizations doing enough? Let me know what you think. Leave a comment. Thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next video. And that's the video. Thanks to our current patrons whose names are on the screen. If you'd like to get your name on the screen or just support us financially, you can go to patreon.com/socialismforall and sign up for a monthly donation. You can also follow us at facebook.com/socialism4all. Used to have a page at FOR all, and it got throttled to death by Zuck. Here on YouTube, please click the like button, subscribe button, and the notifications bell. Please leave a comment if you can, and please share our video wherever you're online, your Twitter feed, your Discord servers, Reddit subs, etc. All of that helps more people to see this content, whether it's in the YouTube algorithm or just posting it on other sites. All of that's helpful. All of you out there supporting and promoting this content makes it all go that much more smoothly. We need to end capitalism, normalize talking about socialism today, and it's really kind of our only hope for a better tomorrow. Thanks for all you do, and we will catch you in the next video.